Okay, ready to go?
Yes, ready to go.
Can I get a motion to open the public hearing on the budget for 2013?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Town Clerk Vespi, would you lead us in the pledge?
Oh, I'd be glad to.
Thanks.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make our every decision fair-minded and in the best interest for all its residents. I kindly ask everyone to please remain standing for a moment of silence for both the Melillo family and the Santucci family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor Villanova. Okay, so we have a public hearing on the budget now. Mr. Noto, help me. This is to hear from the public at this point, correct?
This is a public hearing on the proposed 2013 town budget, which was presented to this board on November 8th, 2012 by the town clerk per state law. So at this point, and the budget's available has been made available for review. Anyone wanting to review it has been able to obtain a copy of the budget. And if it's the board's pleasure, you can open it up for comment on the budget only. And then we would recommend that you would adjourn the hearing to the December meeting because the board will make changes to this proposed budget before final adoption in December.
Well, maybe I'll just make a couple of comments and then open it to the public. This budget this year, like last year, but even more so this year, it's been put together in a scenario where we finally got the dissolution study for the town of Rye. So that's been made public. If you haven't got a copy, we got copies here in the office. Bishop, would you make sure Goldie gets a copy of that town dissolution study? And we won't be talking about the town dissolution study tonight. There's going to be a public meeting next Wednesday at the Village of Rybrook. I think it's at 7 o'clock. I'll just confirm the time. That's Wednesday, November 28th at 7 o'clock to publicly discuss, next Wednesday, November 28th, to discuss the town dissolution study. That, you remember, is an effort on the part of the three village municipalities, Portchester, Rybrook, and Mamaroneck, and the town of Rye. Bishop, it's next Wednesday at 7 o'clock?
Excuse me? 28th.
28th, but at 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
At the Village of Rybrook.
Village of Rybrook Town Hall.
So, I was right.
Village Hall.
Village of Rybrook, Village Hall.
It's 938 King Street.
938 King Street. Thank you so much, Town Clerk Vespia. 7 p.m. In November, and that will be discussed, the dissolution. So obviously, when we put this year's budget together, we're putting it together in an environment of a little bit less certainty than we normally would, given the fact that we'll be going out to the public with the town dissolution study. So I really wanted that as an introduction. We're holding taxes constant. We're looking to use a portion of the fund balance, and I think ultimately we're probably going to have to take a little bit closer look at reducing costs this year, given the fact that we've had increased costs for Sandy. We had a snafu with the county government that our financial people can explain. We thought we had more money than we do. So ultimately, we're just going to have to, as always, be rigorous in terms of cost control and containment, and might have to be a little bit more rigorous this year. So that's sort of by way of background. And if anybody from the public had any comments, yes, please, Goldie.
As a historian for the village of Portchester and the surrounding area, a lot of people have stopped me, a lot of people have called on my phone, asked me, please, if you're going to the meetings, bring out that our taxes are too high, that our assessments are wrong, and they are wrong because they take in footage, but they don't take in age, condition, and location. And right now with Sandy and the snowstorm that we had that was so huge, and the gales of wind, there are a lot of homes that have been without power. There are a lot of people that have lost their jobs because their stores and a lot of their industries have been closed for refixing and refurbishing. There's been power outages all over the place, and a lot of homes have lost their roofing, they've lost everything, and they just can't get along. But because the village of Portchester is, in my mind, the poorest village in Westchester County, because as a village of approximately 2.4 square miles, we have approximately 50% off the tax rolls between the nonprofit corporates and the municipal property, and they keep taking things off the tax rolls. I mean, this doesn't make sense, and people are upset because their taxes are so high when we are a low-income to a middle-income community, and they've lost their jobs, and they're struggling. They're struggling to feed their kids and pay their bills, and we can't do that here. There are a lot of problems in the village of Portchester. We are not an elitist community. With everything off the tax rolls, the surrounding elitist communities are using everything in Portchester that's off the tax rolls. For instance, the post office. For instance, the library. For instance, the Westchester County Sewage Treatment Plant, which was dumped on Fox Island Road and ruined our best waterfront residential property. There's no elitist that's going to live next to a county sewage treatment plant that every once in a while misfires and the stench will kill you going up, down, and around. It's incredible. So there are big problems in the village of Portchester, which a lot of people are struggling because there's so much off the tax rolls, and they keep taking things off the tax rolls. How stupid! I mean, I can mention a couple, but I'm not going to mention it here because I don't want to be sued. And that's what will happen. But that's happened, and at last night's meeting, they're still talking about taking things off the tax rolls, even if it's a small amount. That's no good for the people of Portchester.
Well, I got to say, I got to agree with you. I have to say, last night at the Portchester Village Board meeting,
right?
Yeah, I was thrilled to see that the village board voted to move forward with the formal analysis of the project. They didn't vote to approve it. They voted to move forward with the formal analysis of the project, because if they don't move forward with that formal analysis, there's a big risk that, again, more properties taken off the rolls. Now,
but
the projects...
They should change the zoning laws immediately because that property was off the tax rolls, and now the way they want to put it on is going to ruin our schools. Our schools are overcrowded now. And not only that, but there are a lot of people who have children in the schools that are not paying taxes, and the seniors and veterans that had children in the schools and don't have it now are still paying taxes. Is that fair?
I agree.
And that's government. They don't do anything to help the people.
It's a shame we don't have any village trustees in the room here.
And there are big problems. And government has to understand they're supposed to represent the people, the citizen and taxpayer. And a lot of those people that are in government are double dippers. They have daytime jobs. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't show up. And we don't have a quorum, and it's canceled. But we're standing outside waiting and waiting to hear that there's no quorum and it's canceled. They listen, but they don't do what you say. And that's very bad. So please, we need government to help us at all state levels, all levels of government. If they're not good at our level, then they have to get to the county, the state, the federal government, and and tell them what's no good for our community. God did not create robots. We all think differently, see differently, feel differently, and act differently. But we have to act for the people. Government must represent the people. And the people right now are suffering. And government has to help. Please, I only want to wish you a healthy, happy Thanksgiving. That's the most important thing that's coming up. And you have to remember, it's the Creator that we call God that gave us this land. And Thanksgiving is thanks to the Creator that gave us this land. And that's what it is. So we have to thank the Creator for the gift of this property. And that's what Thanksgiving is all about. Thanking the Creator. The First Amendment, freedom of religion. We were founded on freedom of religion. So please, whatever you can do for the village of Portchester, and we are a village, okay? We don't keep our taxes, it goes out. Cities keep their taxes, we don't. So please help the people who need help in the village of Portchester.
Thank you so much, Goldie. You have a healthy and happy Thanksgiving as well. Thanks for taking time out to share your comments with us tonight. I want to also welcome Councilman Nioras and Councilwoman Collins, and back from the sojourn in Florida and other parts unknown. And welcome to the board. So basically this is the public hearing on our 2013 budget. Any other comments from the public? If there's no other comments from the public, then do we vote to keep it open, or what do we do?
Just adjourn it to the December meeting.
Vote to adjourn it till the December meeting, and then we'll go right into the town meeting.
Right.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Terrific. All right. Now, we are going to go into executive session tonight, correct, Town Attorney Noto?
I would be after the conclusion of the regular meeting.
No, I understand that, but I just might as well forewarn people now that we're going to go into executive session, and that's on personnel matters?
Yes, on personnel history.
Okay. Great. All right, so we have, so do I need to open, do I get a motion to open the public meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a presentation on the Model American Community, is that right?
That's good. I like that.
Oh, thank you, Goldie. I think you voted against me to keep me here. I think you...
I voted against you and Billy to keep you voting.
See that? That's why I lost. That's why I lost.
Because you...
I love the honesty.
I appreciate that.
Right?
I know.
You always work for the people and you keep our taxes down. So we didn't want you to go to the Senate or to the federal government, or we wouldn't see you.
I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thanks so much.
Please pass me a tissue.
Don't forget I'm only one person.
I know, yeah. Okay, Mr. Arcaro.
Just a very brief report. One of the nice things about the Model American Community is I think we're trying to reach out to the community and respond to what comes forward. So as you recall, last year we had a lot of interviews, about 44 interviews, a lot of interest in the youth, and we responded with a couple of ways that the Tools for Change had already been going on. But one of the new things this summer was the summer internship, in which we included a week of employment training, followed by an internship of 5 weeks. During some recent meetings, I want to share with you, there's a tremendous amount of interest in the daycare. That there are a number of daycare who could see some benefit to them by coming together. So we had a meeting of the community, and that's what arose out of that meeting. So I think you'll see us trying to bring together the early childhood education, the daycares, the Head Starts.
With whom?
Together as a group. Some of the early comments that they made included cooperation with the arts community, and because so much of this opportunity there for the children through art and music. So it just was really encouraging to see the response of people when they brought together and asked, what do they see for the future? How can we help by bringing the groups together? So again, I just wanted to share that with you, and we'll be doing some more things to give you an update on that.
Thank you so much. Thanks to Mr. Arcaro. Actually, before you go, one thing maybe we'll just take this opportunity to talk quickly about the storm. And I don't think we have any real procedures in place for this kind of storm scenario that I'm aware of. And it seems to me that, I mean, in my approach to the storm, and I don't know, you know, as the various board members, obviously, I'm sure everybody got calls from the public. You know, we don't have a first responder role, right, because we don't have police, fire, or DPW. But we have the potential to perform a second responder role and support. So I was up in North Castle, and they had a wonderful shelter that they opened to the public, and they basically they had, you know, people wanted one of the biggest problems during the storm was to get power for your phone or your computer or your iPad.
Sure.
And so they opened up their center for you know, seniors, but they had food. People needed to sleep there and that kind of thing. And I'm wondering if Crawford Park doesn't lend itself very well to that kind of sheltered support in a time of emergency.
It would be perfect, but I think given the you know, currently it's in a tough area. The means of egress, both in and out, both sides, are lined by trees. So if trees go down, it's blocked, and it's not sustainable, independent with power unless we had a generator there.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good idea. You know, the concept would probably be better served if we had power here. You know, this building here, if it ran on its own, to have this as an area to, you know, have people come. Crawford Park, I don't think would be a perfect spot.
Well, actually, it's interesting you point out about the generator, because I think that if we were going to do something like this, you'd obviously have to put a generator in Crawford Park.
Right.
In fact, that's what that building in North Castle did, ran on. And maybe I was influenced by the building in North Castle had it was more of a residential feel. And you're right, absolutely, we'd have to do two things. We'd have to provide a fire escape, and we'd have to provide a generator. And so I guess I'm not looking for a decision, obviously, tonight, but I wanted to study, because Bishop, what do they call them? CERTs, Community Emergency Response Teams?
Community Emergency Response Team.
And, you know, there are a bunch of volunteers that, you know, ultimately can help the public with information and all these different kinds of things. I think one of the biggest problems with the storm was just, you know, helping people get answers from Con Edison, knowing when lights were going to come on, those kinds of things. Now, again, you know, we have to be careful. I don't want to recreate the wheel, and I don't want to get in the way of the first responders, but I do think there might be a role for us as a secondary matter. And so, I just want to float that idea and then take a look at it and see, you know, what would it cost to put a generator? What would, you know, cost to put we already looked at fire escape. You know, is there some interest in the community? And if there's no interest, that's fine. But what I don't want to do, the next time there's an emergency situation, you know, I want this town board to know exactly how we want to respond.
Right.
And I want the town board to say, well, it's not my role, Paco, or you know, or say, you know, we're prepared to do something.
American Red Cross responds.
Yep.
They were at the high school.
Yep.
Okay, both
Yeah,
senior,
they might come in here also.
Yep.
both senior centers
Right.
were available for hot meals and warmth and,
Right.
Yes.
you know, to,
I think maybe if we
Right,
can
Brooke,
help
report
out
to
I
with
do want to
them.
mention I'm on the
Yeah.
Salvation Army Board. I don't know if you've ever visited the new building on the corner of Hassico
Oh, right,
and Bush.
downtown.
It's fabulous.
Right.
And they served 1,200 meals that day, and people were allowed to go there. And I don't think people are really aware of the location or the service that they give to the public. And I know they would be glad for us to send people there.
Have we talked to the Salvation Army?
No.
So perhaps we should start by serving as a,
Don't say, hold on.
communicator,
There's flyers to give out to the people.
Right.
Yeah, we could
Right.
take a communication role.
Hurricanes on everything.
Right.
Tornadoes, hurricanes.
I don't think Crawford would be a safe place as much as I love it. I just think it always gets, since it's so high up, it gets a lot of damage a lot of times. I just don't think that
And
would
it gets
be-
dark if we do
Yeah.
lose power even from the generator to
Right.
walk all those people out through the darkness.
Yeah.
I don't have I have to agree with Billy and Michelle on that, but I like the idea that I do think we should play a role, and I think a communication role at the very least between the organizations that are out there and are already in a position to respond quickly, like the Red Cross or in Hope said, Salvation Army.
I agree, and I think the one thing that we did do well is, which is one of our primary responsibilities are the bridges, and although residents of Portchester and Rye Brook are not affected by that, the residents of Mamaroneck are. And we saw with the night of the storm when everything was happening, we had it was Noah. I think it was Noah. It was I'm sorry. It was I think it was them. They put meters on the bridges to anticipate the tides. The river swelled so much that the water actually went over the bridges. We were able to, identify whether or not, they were blocked off. We worked with Mamaroneck, and that was good. And I'm sure John's going to respond tonight in his narrative where we need to go from there after the assessment of the bridges. So that's actually, one thing that we need to always focus on is that if there's some kind of a response that needs to happen, the bridges have to come first, especially for the families that are at the end of Barry Avenue, because without that bridge intact, they're cut off. So if you cut off on that other side, the families from Parkway Drive, they can come all. They don't have to take that bridge. They can come all the way around back to the Post Road. But if something should happen, I think it's a great idea.
Well, I think we're getting a clear consensus against Crawford Park, which that's fine, perfect. Let's table that idea. But I think what we should do is find out, certainly what the Village of Rye Brook, Portchester, and Mamaroneck are doing, so we can become an information source and at least enhance their capacity to communicate with the public. Let's visit with the Salvation Army also as part of our Model American outreach effort to put people in touch with support organizations like that. And then, Billy, your suggestion, and then I think the other thing is, you're absolutely right, we should have a plan for the bridges, so if you could just, I know, Billy, you and I and Bishop were there the day after the storm, and I know, John, you were there visiting as well, and so we should have sort of a communication plan or some sort of emergency plan, how we communicate with residents. We should probably know if there's any disabled people that are potentially cut off. So we should work very closely with the Village of Mamaroneck on, fulfilling our responsibility for the bridges. And then, Bishop, we talked tonight in the Rye Town meeting, we need to come up with an emergency, plan, storm plan for Rye Town Park and then Crawford Park as well. We should probably have some formal procedures. I know we did exactly what we wanted to. We closed the park off to the public, so I think we did the right thing, but I think we should I want to formalize the procedure so everybody on the board knows what is in fact we're going to be doing. So, unfortunately, I'm anticipating more storms like this. And so I think those are wonderful suggestions from the board, and that's why groupthink is better than individual thinking. And any other comments from the board on this? So, Mr. Arcaro, would you follow up this with Mr. Nowotnik on that? Thank you so much. Okay. We have the approval of a number of meetings. Can I get a motion to approve? Does anybody have any comments on the meetings held on September 18th, October 16th, or November 8th? Any changes? If not, can I get a motion to approve all three sets of minutes?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, wonderful. All in favor?
Aye.
Terrific. Good. Okay. Did we do we haven't done comments from the public for the town meeting. I think since we had it for the public hearing, there's no real need to do. Anybody have any particular new comments for the town? You said, I think
I just wanted to tell you about the American Red Cross will come and give lectures here
Wonderful.
on
Yep.
anything, on hurricanes, tornadoes,
Great.
anything, storms, and they'll hand out all these brochures. So,
Perfect. Well,
I
actually,
do that beforehand.
yep, Greg, have we met with the Red Cross yet? So that's a wonderful suggestion. Thank you, Goldie. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
please.
Let's do that. Good. Okay, communications resolutions. Tonight we're very light. I think everybody's getting ready for turkey. So no communications resolution. Not even Mr. Markowitz, nothing tonight, huh? Nothing. All right, but do you have any reports for us? Wow. Finance? We're going to be talking about the budget tonight. Anything you want to advance?
In your packet also is the update of the tax receivables through October 31st, but on page 2 there's the in-rem summary, and that also includes collections through November 15th. So we still have 23 properties that are outstanding as of November 15th that have from 2010.
So what does that mean?
Well, there's a little over $1 million in back taxes on those 23 properties in total through. So that's
Schedule D?
that is Schedule D, correct.
And
That is on page 6. And those are
so wait, when do they have to be in, Mr. Noto?
Well, they were supposed to be in November 15th, and I would say that this has been a real challenge this year, the in-rem. We've not had as great a response as I've had in prior years. I do have some stragglers coming in the next 2 weeks by the 30th, and as you can see, some of these, there's about seven properties with the same owner who's been a chronic delinquent, who had promised to pay by the 15th and did not. So some of these, most of these I've spoken to, and I anticipate they will be paid up soon. And some I suspect will be owning some more property. So it's my assessment of it for now. But I think in the December meeting I'll be in a better position to give you.
What's the estimated assessed value of these properties?
$8.5 million on Schedule D. That's for those 23 properties. It's $8.5 million, and there's a little over $1.039 million in back taxes and interest and penalties. So it's on page.
And we're going to get. So sorry. So are we going to get?
Well,
I can't find the page. I apologize. You sent me different things.
It's possible. It's possible we're going to end up taking some of these properties. Yes, I don't want to go through which ones.
Sorry, you have 179,000. What's that? That's the taxes open.
What are you looking at? Look at page 6.
Yeah, the 179,000 is the taxes that forced it to be in rem. Those are the oldest.
We're owed $1 million.
We're owed $1 million on those 23 properties.
Yeah, with the penalties and
interest.
interest.
Penalties and interest up to date.
So wait, so if all 23 properties paid, we get $1 million between now and the end of the month?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
But okay, I'm just trying to understand as we're getting ready to go into our budget negotiations, this is important. Because the value of those properties is $8.5 million.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're a business person, you're hoping they don't pay you. If not, we want everybody to pay. I'm just saying that, the town would be financially better off if nobody paid.
Well, it's the taxes back on all the properties for all outstanding properties in the town. It's about 13% to assess value of the taxes.
How's this going to impact our cash flow? And our budget for this year, is this going to exceed our numbers? Did you get the town accountant? Would you see? Is he? Or we could? I guess we could talk. Never mind. We could talk about it.
This is strictly cash flow because it's taxes that we've paid and guaranteed. So if we receive this money,
If they paid $1 million today, some of that's got to be income and revenues. I think the 179 would be the.
Correct. There's 108,000 interest and penalties that would be income to the town, but the 930,000 is the taxes if they paid in full. So there is income portion.
And what's your expectation? How many of these properties are going to come off between now and the end of the month?
It's I'm looking at the list, and a number of them are going to pay by the end of the month. I can't give you an exact number. One of them I know filed for bankruptcy, so that's off the list. We cannot collect it.
What happens when they go into bankruptcy?
It stays the foreclosure, so we cannot take any action.
I understand what happens.
Well, it works its way through the bankruptcy court, and then they work out a plan with the trustee, and then the trustee pays us over time.
Yeah, we've had properties in bankruptcy for 3 or 4 years.
And we've gotten checks. We get checks from the trustee.
Well, can we have a separate bankruptcy? I want a bankruptcy file.
Sure. How many are in bankruptcy that we're getting checks from the trustee?
There's 3.
Yeah, there's only 3.
Yeah, but I want a separate,
Okay.
because I don't want them avoiding, Villanova will not, the Deputy Supervisor will not stand for
No, they're not avoiding anything. It's just they have to file. Once they've done it, it's...
The one that the town attorney is speaking of,
Right.
her father passed away.
Right.
And that was under bankruptcy.
He was in bankruptcy.
That killed
Right.
the bankruptcy, but
Right.
she has now refiled.
Right.
When she came in to see me, she says, I want to clean the property up. How much do I owe you? And I said to her,
well, I don't want to go into the detail on any
The
individual.
point is, we can't take any action against that property.
But I want a separate bankruptcy, and what it does, it also stops accruing the penalty interest, right?
No, that continues to accrue.
It does, even
Yeah.
in bankruptcy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, it doesn't. You don't get out from under your tax bill just because you're in bankruptcy. It may delay the inevitable, but you eventually have to pay or lose the property.
And the interest accrues?
Yes.
At onerous penalty rates?
Yes.
And what payments do we get?
Well, whatever the trustee decides. In other words, it's out of our hands. The bankruptcy court makes a determination. So it's like a Chapter 13, and you're paying off creditors, so they'll pay you over time.
Yeah, but again, at least in terms of our debt versus the value of the property, it's very clear that, the value of the property is 5 times what they owe us.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no question that a number of these don't have banks, so it's all equity, and I'd say most of them are going to pay, but not all. I think some are not going to.
So what happens on November 30th? Well, we're already past due. What's our strategy?
The next step is I'll be making a motion for summary judgment to have the properties transferred to the town.
Okay, and when do you expect to do that?
Probably sometime next month.
And when would you expect to have the properties in our hands?
February. It takes about 8 weeks to get a decision.
And how many, your guesstimate today, based on your conversations with people, how many of those properties would you come to us?
I'm going to say probably a half dozen, the most, maybe less.
All right. Okay.
I mean, that's depending on whether the commitments people have made to me are fulfilled. They're not always fulfilled.
Right. Yeah. Great. Anything else? Nope. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Byrnes. Okay. Honorable Mr. Mecca?
Good evening, Honorable Supervisor Carvin, members of the Town Council. As you just heard with Mr. Noto, we have been aggressively proceeding for get this tax money in. We do, even at this moment as we're here, we have some checks that we have deposited, but we didn't remove them from the list until the checks clear, because they're not bank checks. They're personal checks or attorney escrow checks. And I want to be sure, because we're talking there 50, 60,000 in some cases, that money is ours.
Right.
And then we will adjust this list. You're going to see some of them disappear from here, as Mr. Noto says, in the next few weeks.
Yep.
Hopefully. No, some that we have the money, that I know of. The other big ones is just unknown. I mean, the person that has the 7 properties usually comes on board, but his daughter called, but she did not come forward with any kind of promises or any kind of checks or anything at all.
These properties have no loan on them, as far as we know, right?
Pardon?
The properties have no loan on them?
Not as far as we know. Well, there's other ones in addition that have loans that the banks are foreclosing on this fella. So, all in all, he's not in good shape.
All right.
So. But I do, by the time we meet again, I believe I'd like to just alert the Portchester people that next week, if you're responsible for your second half payment, you will receive that notice in the mail. I know it's holiday time, but that's the law, so please, when you get the notice, try and get it paid up by the end of the year, because right behind that is the second half of the school payment. So we don't like to see things start to go behind, because it gets snowballs very
What are we
quickly.
paying for now? The second half payment is for what?
Of the village of Portchester. January 1st will be the second half of the 3 school districts. And then February is the second installment. It's 1/3 of Rybrook. So, any questions for me as far as...
Yeah, how did the new machines work out?
Very good. We had 2, which the Plan D machine being in the rooms, everybody said, oh, nobody uses that room. It wound up that 3 of them had to be put into service because there was some kind of problem with the Plan A machine. Now, in a normal election, when there's not that much volume, you can wait for a technician to come. But we did probably...
You say Plan B machine, the old machines?
No. That's what they call a handicap machine.
Okay.
It's a similar operation, but it's touch tone. It's a little bit different. So 3 of those machines were put into action, and they ran all day long, which actually saved a lot of headaches and saved a lot of tie-ups because they were busy.
And no problems with electricity?
No problems whatsoever, because they do have a power bank that can run, I believe, for 12 hours, but we were okay. We didn't have any. It was before the storm. Hopefully, we'd never want to have a storm. They were impounded, and we followed their procedures, their laws of what they had told us to do, and there were no complaints. The courts were all happy, so we were happy. So I don't know if everybody's happy with the outcome, but as far as the mechanism, as far as the mechanism is concerned, I think the mechanism worked very well. Now we're working now with Portchester to try and begin them, get their process together. So okay.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Senator.
Okay, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Okay.
Healthy and happy Thanksgiving. Healthy and happy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay. Superintendent of Highway. Save the town attorney for last.
Good evening.
I did mine already.
Just to start off, I'd like to touch on some of the points that you made about the bridges during the storm. I know that all our bridges are located in the village of Mamaroneck, and the police department was very diligent. They were monitoring the bridges during the high tides and low tides to make sure that everything was done. The village of Mamaroneck put out all kinds of messages to all its residents that are in those areas that may have been subjected to the high tides and not being able to have egress from their homes. They evacuated parts of Shore Acres and Orienta, so people that would have been on the other side of those bridges, unless they refused to leave their homes, they were taken care of before we had those high tides that actually came over all the bridges. But before and after, everything was inspected, and even the subsequent high tides were monitored by the Village of Mamaroneck Police Department, and their DPW was there to remove any rubbish or anything that was put onto the bridges from the high tides and low tides. And all our structures pretty much sustained little or no damage, so they were in very good shape.
Now, great. Well, one thing I want to make sure we're doing is filing for FEMA. I was sort of peeking at the Crawford Park and Rytown Park reports, but is there any damage at all to the bridges, or we're okay?
All the bridges, as far as we can see, I went at high tide.
To triple check.
Yeah, high tide and low tide. I went with our consulting firm with Tom Arneman, and we took a look at all the bridges, and everything looked to be in order with the exception of Otter Creek. We had some movement on the wing wall that is slated to be repaired already, so that's not a problem.
Right.
That's going to be taken out and replaced anyway. And the only additional damage we saw was some stones on one of the other approach walls had shifted, and it's a very minor repair that can be done by the same people who did the small work at the footbridge and also at Otter Creek to fix the other approach
Well, I
wall.
just want to make sure we're, coordinating. Bishop, I know Bishop filed a report for FEMA today.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that, that we be sure to get reimbursed for any infrastructure damage we incurred.
Okay.
So just make sure, that there's...
And anything that has to be repaired post-storm that wasn't already slated to be repaired, I'll coordinate with Bishop.
Great. Perfect. Any other questions for Mr. DeCresenzo? No. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Who am I missing? Pardon me?
I was going to deliver the park foreman's report.
Yeah, very brief. What?
Brief. Yeah, we can do brief.
Just very briefly.
We have it, we could read it.
Actually, we have it in front of us. Does anybody have any questions for, this is, Frank's on vacation today. Any questions, or, the storm damage totaled how much? You filed the FEMA application was how much?
We filed a report today. It was $1,235,000 is what our estimate was.
And that's a combination, Wright-Town Park, Crawford
Wright-Town Park and Crawford Park. But to give you an example, $22,000 we had to spend just to restore power at Crawford Park. That involved 2 power poles, a transformer, additional wire, and the control panel that ripped off the mansion.
Perfect.
So, these repairs and restoration start to cost some real money.
Today was the last day to file for FEMA?
Oh, no. There's still time. This is what New York State had asked for was FEMA only reimburses to 75%. What New York State was trying to get was an assessment of how much damage was out there, who was going to pay for it, i.e. your insurance carrier or FEMA, so that New York could quantify how much they might be asked to kick in. All right, so all the communities
And
that
how
were
much,
affected.
so who is paying for ours?
Well, we don't know yet. It's going to
Are we covered by insurance at all or not?
It will be a mixture of insurance, yes, and it will be FEMA, yes, but we just don't know what that mix is.
Perfect. Would you distribute that report to the board, please?
Okay.
That you filed. Any other questions for Mr. Nowotnik?
One other question. I know this report was written like a few days ago, I assume, but have we made any repairs since this report came out?
Well, the major repair that was done was the restoration of power to Crawford Park. As I said, that was about $22,000. We did do the roof repairs on Crawford Mansion and the caretaker's cottage, which was relatively nominal. There was minimal damage, but we did get those fixed right away because obviously you don't know when it's going to rain. We have not done any significant repairs other than tree removal, debris removal, and that's primarily where we have spent our money so far. My estimate, to give you an example, is about $25,000 we've spent just to remove trees and branches. Now, the rest of the work, we're having estimates done because some of the repairs are significant. When you look at some of the roof damage down at Wright-Town Park, one of those roofs could cost us as much as $200,000.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Nowotnik. Mr. Town Attorney, so you talked about the in-rems. Should we resubmit our annual change in the law for the certiorari?
I think we should we should talk in...
Should we set up a meeting?
Yeah, in January. I mean, look, both George...
Can we not set up in December? I don't want to wait till January. I want to get this damn thing done for a change.
We should talk with George and Steve, who both are familiar with the law, having in their prior lives. So I do think we should, as you know, the legislature starts new. In other words, their terms expire, so everything has to be refiled. It's not like last year where they simply resurrected the old bills. So the answer is yes, we should talk to them. I think we should resubmit it in January.
Can you set up a meeting with the two of them?
I can try, yeah.
Yeah, please. Sure. Thank you. And I want, this year, was it 3 times a term? Or this is, 4 times a term? Great, thank you.
I don't know who's in the majority yet in the Senate yet, and that's still undetermined, so.
It shouldn't make a difference, really, right?
It makes a big difference.
But it shouldn't.
Well, it shouldn't, but if your senator happens to be in the majority, you have a better chance of getting it to the floor than you do when your senator's in the minority.
Was the
Okay.
senator in the majority before?
No, Susie was in the minority.
Oh, right. She was in the minority?
Yeah, well, okay, so comments from council people. Councilwoman Collins, any comments?
No comments today.
Thank you. Councilwoman Mendicino, yay?
I just wanted to go voice aloud again what Hope had said about the two senior centers, because I did go down to the Rybrook Senior Center, and Mayor Feinstein was also over there quite a lot, because we both had no power for quite some time. And it was really very nice of Liz and the whole staff there, and I just wanted to say thank you to them for keeping it open extra hours and for providing food and places to power up during the storm. And I think maybe if we could, join with them somehow and help out in the future, because that might be a good place where people would be able to go as far as with the Red Cross and Salvation Army too. So just wanted to say thank you to both of the senior centers and everyone who gave their all during the storm, and to my neighbor next door who kept me on her generator. Very nice.
Hey, that's very nice.
Yes.
That's
and
great.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
And Town Clerk Vespi, I apologize, I skipped over you. Did you have any,
No.
do you want to do the report, or?
We did keep the town rooms open.
Oh, yeah, why don't you tell the people in the public, because well, you made a special effort, I think it's
Well, we were
important.
here the whole time except for Tuesday and late Monday, and really to be available to answer questions and just give information to people.
Well, I want to thank the staff, because I know we made a decision, and I think we were only, one day we were out, and then I want to thank you, the department heads, for coming in and made a decision to run even without power, right? You were here without power.
Yes, we were.
Running a skeleton crew from the basement of the ground floor to accommodate the public and keep open and service. That's really, above and beyond duty. So I want to thank all of you for Town Clerk Vespia, Receiver of Taxes, Mecca, Mr. Markowitz, for his teams. Pardon me?
Ann
Capisi, she's not here tonight. Ann Capisi, for making that effort to come in under difficult conditions, and it was really nice of you to make that effort. And Mr. Nowotnik, he lives here, I thought.
I know.
Doesn't he? And Mr. Nowotnik, for having organized that. Thank you, Mr. Nowotnik.
And Nick was very successful. Quite a few people came in to pay their taxes.
There you go. Good. Wonderful.
We collected $500,000.
Did we really? Wow, we should stay open longer. That's why. Well, thank you so much for making that effort. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Councilman Nioras.
I have nothing else to add. I just hope that everybody survives the storm safely and everyone has a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Deputy Supervisor Villanova.
Just wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and that's it.
Okay, I just want to remind everybody, the town dissolution study, the first public meeting, Wednesday, November 28th at 7 p.m. at the Village of Rybrook, the Village of Hall, Village of Rybrook, so that's that. Now, we're going to go into executive session at this point. Can I get a motion to go into executive session? Oh.
May I?
Oh, please. Okay. Sorry.
My mistake. I forgot in the Model Cities report, because of the storm, the service for Veterans Day service at the Wrighttown Park, at the Wrighttown Cemetery, has been rescheduled to this Saturday at 10 o'clock in honor of Veterans Day at the cemetery, at the African American Cemetery.
10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
So 10 o'clock, the African American
Cemetery. This Saturday, it's Saturday coming up here, the 24th, with the rescheduled remembrance for the veterans.
Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Great, thank you, Mr. Arcaro. Deputy Supervisor Villanova. Okay, so November 28th, Wednesday, and then do we get a motion to break in executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I keep this for now?